Welcome to the video version of the CryptoPicks report for the week of November 4th to November 11th. And in this video, we're going to cover the daily and weekly charts of Bitcoin, Ripple, and Monero. So let's dive right into the charts. First up is Bitcoin. We have the weekly chart. And note that the price action has not closed above the 10-week moving average for more than 2 weeks in a row in all of 2018, really. And as you'll notice on the weekly chart, with each rally, the price action has tightened up on the during the next pullback. So over the past few months here, the price action is very tight, and what that means is that it'll eventually lead to a big move in one direction or the other. One of the basic laws of trading, volatility contraction eventually leads to volatility expansion. Here is the contraction and volatility. That just means price action is tight, so eventually it will lead to an expansion. With the trend basically sideways here, it's tough to say whether that's going to be to the upside or downside. If it was in the middle of a strong uptrend and the price action was above the 10-week and 40-week MAs, then we could say maybe the odds are higher for a breakout to the upside. But at this point, the odds don't favor a move in one direction or the other. And on the daily chart, Bitcoin has quite a bit of resistance at the 6850 area. It had that one sharp move here after this would appear to be a bear trap here on the breakdown. There was a strong reversal back through the highs of that bar and back through the 50 and 200-day MAs, but that failed to hold and sold off back down to the 50-day MA. We are still long Bitcoin from our entry on 1022 around 65.70, and we will remain long Bitcoin as long as the price action holds above this prior swing low here. Our stop is 61.85. Next up is the daily chart of Ripple, which is one of the few cryptocurrencies that is trading above a rising 50-day MA. The price action has been in a tight range since breaking the downtrend line, holding above the 50-day MA, but the 20 is below the 50 MA and the 50 is below the 200 MA, which are not ideal. So we'd like to see the 20-day moving average above the 50 and the 50 above the 200-day MA. But as it is right here, this is pretty constructive action from Ripple. As I mentioned before, it's one of the only cryptos that is trading above a rising 50-day moving average. And on the weekly chart, it looks even better, really. We have the longer term downtrend line breakout, the strong move up, and then the pullback into the rising 10-week MA, and then the few weeks of tight action here. And now the price is trying to turn back up. So in terms of trend trading, Ripple might be one of the very few cryptos that could be in play down the road for an intermediate term swing trade, and especially when the 10-week MA crosses above the 40-week MA. Next up is Monero, and we'll just stick with the weekly chart since we're on the weekly. And what we see here is a crypto that has not yet broken its downtrend line, but is forming a head and shoulders like bottom here. We're going to shift to the daily chart, which will show the head and shoulders like bottom a little bit better. But the price action here is hovering around a 10-week moving average that is no longer in a downtrend and starting to go sideways, which is a good sign. However, the 40-week MA is still trending lower. And on the daily chart, this is where I think the head and shoulders is a bit easier to see. This is the left shoulder here, the left shoulder bottom. And then we have the head, and then we have the right shoulder right here. So that's the left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder. So if this pattern is legit, then the price action shouldn't dip back below 96. And the moving averages in Monero are a bit out of order here. The 20 is still below the 50-day MA, and the 50 is still below the declining 200 MA. Look for the 20 to push through the 50, and then for the price action to go sideways and potentially set the stage for a breakout from a 2 to 3 month base here to the upside. Just something to keep an eye on. That's a wrap for this week's video. Thank you for joining us and have a great week.